For the likes of the former KwaZulu-Natal Hawks boss, Johan Booysen, so far so good, but there's still more to deal with.
Indeed, for Johan Booysen, so far so good. Remember, this matter goes back to 2012 when then acting NPA head, that is Advocate Nomgcobo Jiba, authorized these racketeering charges against Booysen and his co-accused. And immediately then, Booysen, of course, went to the court to challenge the legality of these charges. And then subsequently, the Durban High Court then ruled in his favor, overturning the decision to authorize these charges by Jiba, and it really was a scathing judgment by the High Court and found that Jiba's decision to authorize these charges was unconstitutional and set aside that decision. But of course, that was not the end of the matter. We saw with the subsequent appointment of Shaun as the NPA head, he also then reinstated these charges, authorizing these charges against Johan Booysen, and Johan Booysen again challenged these charges. So, but however, Abrahams then was removed from this office before the matter has been finalized. So it has been a long ongoing battle for Johan Booysen, and he has always said that he feels that this is a campaign, a politically driven charges against him, because when he was the head of Hawks in KZN, he was investigating people that he says had political connections. So he felt the charges was a means to try to stop him from doing his work as the then head of the Hawks.
So Booysen himself has been saying today that he feels vindicated about the truth coming out, and this outcome is what he expected. He also says that this murder charge is just also something that's not going to stick, because somebody was killed in the line of duty. It was a wanted person. How much do we know about those murder charges and these other charges that he and other officers are facing?
Indeed, I mean, it's understandable why Johan Booysen would describe this, as a vindication of some sort, because, he has been, since these charges of racketeering were placed by Jiba, he has been trying to fight them. But I also must state that during the recent, horror inquiry, which was set up to test the fitness to hold office of the former NPA deputy head Jiba. Jiba had said that she supports the decision, she stands by her decision to put these racketeering charges and the murder charges against Johan Booysen and the co-accused. She felt that these charges should be tested in a court of law, whether then they actually indeed committed these crimes or not. But what we do know is that this Cato Manor death squad, as it is dubbed, of course, it is alleged that between 2008 and up to 2011, it really terrorized certain parts of KZN, running illegal operations and killing suspects. So certainly we do have a numbers of victims, people that, families that lost their loved ones. So there is something to be investigated there. But what we need to know when it comes to Johan Booysen, what role did he play in this? Did he authorize these operations and these alleged murders of these victims? So that is what needs to be investigated. And Jiba has said, well, perhaps then Johan Booysen should have his day in court, where he then, defends himself, and then this matter is tested in court. But of course, we know that Johan Booysen believes that these charges are simply politically motivated and were a means to sort of, ruin his reputation.
Did the NPA give you any indication about a timeline when perhaps these next set of charges, they'll be able to make a decision on them?
Well, the immediate thing to do, Peter, is that they have to formally withdraw the matter in a court of law. What has happened today is the announcement of a decision following that panel that was appointed by Batohi. That the panel, of course, then advised that former member panel, including senior NPA officials, advised Batohi that these charges were invalid. So then she announced that decision, that she concurs with that decision. However, the matter has to be formally withdrawn in court. But what we do know, the NPA spokesperson Bulelwa, Makeke, who I spoke to earlier on, said that the whole matter regarding the Cato Manor death squad is not closed, but they've sent it back to the acting head of the NPA in KZN to look at these charges of murder, extortion, and intimidation, and see if there is a possible chance of a winnable prosecution. So it is not yet closed. We don't have timelines, but this is not a matter that has been closed yet. The NPA has gone as far as to say that they've communicated with the families of the victims to say they must hang on. It's not yet finalized, but the only matter that they've dealt with currently is the racketeering charges against Johan Booysen.
Sipho, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks very much indeed. That's our reporter Sipho Stuurman, who's been following this story. The NPA has decided to withdraw its charges against Johan Booysen and other generals for racketeering. But there are still other charges that they're facing that need to be adjudicated before they make another decision.